Porcelain is used to make crockery, kitchenalia, sanitary wares and objects of fine art. Its resistance to the passage of electricity makes porcelain an excellent insulating material. It's also used in dentistry to make false teeth. Porcelain is often called China, after the country that invented it more than 1,200 years ago. This company makes 40 different porcelain items. It all begins with a sketch of the piece, in this case, a teapot. A master mould of the piece is created, a negative made of plaster. Craftsmen use it to make a production mould. Porcelain begins as a powder, a blend of 3 minerals, quartz, kaolin and feldspar. This powder is mixed with water to make a wet paste called slip. The mould is filled with slip. Within 10 minutes or so, the porous plaster absorbs the water, leaving a crust of hardened slip. The rest is poured out. After another 30 minutes, the crust has hardened further and the mould can be peeled away to give the first glimpse of the teapot. Excess crust is removed from a different mould for the spout. It's then left for about 10 minutes until it's hard enough to handle, but still soft enough to sculpt. A utility knife is used to open the end of the spout. The edges are smoothed out using a little water and a sponge, and the rim is curved. Next, the handle is extracted from a third mould. Then 12 holes are pierced in the spout side of the teapot to filter out the tea leaves during pouring. Some slip is brushed on to attach the spout and the handle. This model has a wedge along the collar to help align the handle correctly. Other designs have small notches instead. More slip is brushed on to ensure the parts will bond. And the surrounding surface is sponged to smooth out the drips. The piece dries for 2 more days before the lines along the handle and under the spout are carved away and the rim is sanded down. Some pieces are made using a pressure casting system. The mould is made of resin and tiny polyester beads that create pores which absorb the water in the slip. After a hydraulic press closes the mould, the machine injects slip into the cavity. 12 minutes later, a craftsman uses a suction plate to remove what will become a serving platter. He places the piece on a plaster block. The porous plaster lets the underside dry without leaving marks. The items are fed into a large kiln which heats up gradually, taking 8 hours to reach a searing 1000 degrees Celsius, and takes 12 more hours to cool down. Firing hardens the porcelain and enables it to better absorb a coat of enamel. After brushing off any dust, the craftsman dunks each piece in enamel, a protective coating. The porcelain absorbs it right away, and this glaze turns into a shiny skin once the pieces are fired again. Each piece is handled in a particular way to avoid leaving drip marks. During a second firing, the air in the kiln is carefully controlled to produce a pure white porcelain. Reducing the oxygen level removes any undesirable colours. This time the temperature is even higher, 1400 degrees Celsius. The pieces shrink by around 15%. After a quality check, the company logo is added. The transfer bonds when the plate goes back into the kiln for another 12 hours at 850 degrees Celsius. In the end, the porcelain is translucent enough for light to shine right through. Other pieces offer more illustrated displays for a truly fine dining experience.